Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name's Cassie. I talk about video games, do video game reviews, unboxings, pickups, and all sorts of video game related topics. Today I want to talk about the Game Awards and my predictions for the 6 nominees for Game of the Year. That's going to be announced on Monday by Jeff Keighley. And I want to talk about my personal 6 of the games that I have played for 2023, the ones that have come out this year. So I also want to talk about Game Club a little bit and then talk about my games that I'm currently playing. So the Game Awards is going to be on December 7th. I actually asked off for that day, which is crazy because I've never done that before, but the Game Awards is kind of like what E3 used to be, I feel like, for game announcements. And there's just a lot of crazy things going around, you know, like rumors and stuff. You've got Rockstar with Grand Theft Auto 6 that they just kind of teased that they're going to release a trailer. Whether or not that's going to be at Game Awards or not, I'm not sure. But usually there's a lot of announcements at the Game Awards, and it's usually world premieres of like games that we didn't even know about. So the Game Awards is very exciting for me, and I love watching that. So I requested off, and I'm just going to chill and hopefully, I don't really know what my predictions are going to be. I'll probably have a video for that later for like what might be shown there. But I just want to talk about the Game of the Year predictions. So this is what I think personally, just from hearsay, you know, and like just I do listen and I do pay attention to a lot of the just video game news and stuff, and just I listen to critics. I listen to podcasts. I listen to Kind of Funny. I listen to Game Informer. I read Game Informer. I kind of stay up to date with like a lot of the games, even if I have not played them. Like I know a lot about them, and I know a lot about like what people think of them, and if they're critically acclaimed or not, you know. And just I like to listen to people talk about video games, even if it's not, you know, my cup of tea as far as video games go. Like I'll even listen to people talk about Fortnite. Yeah, I don't play Fortnite, but you know, like it's just interesting to me just all around. I love video games. So this is what I think is going to be nominated, and I believe it's supposed to be 6, so that's why I'm doing 6. But I think Baldur's Gate 3, obviously that's a lock. That one's going to be nominated for sure. They actually just had an awards last night, the Golden Joystick Awards last night, and Baldur's Gate 3 took home a lot of awards. And they won Game of the Year. So it's kind of, I feel like it's inevitable right now. Baldur's Gate 3 is probably going to win, and it will be nominated. That's a lock. Tears of the Kingdom is probably the only one that's going to be the one that really goes up against Baldur's Gate, I think. But that one's definitely a lock as well. I did not play through Breath of the Wild completely, and I haven't touched Baldur's Gate 3 yet. I do have it. I got it with a gift card for my birthday, but back in October, but I have not gotten around to it yet. So once Spider-Man 2 is done, I'm like at 40% on it, then I will move on to Baldur's Gate. So I'm excited for that because I don't really do, like, I've never been into Dungeons and Dragons. You know, I've had roommates that were like very active that are actually like have podcasts and stuff, you know, but and then like some of my best friends have been, you know, into Dungeons and Dragons. My sister plays. She also is like super into Baldur's Gate 3. But I haven't gotten around to it yet, and but I think I will like it a lot. So And Tears of the Kingdom, I did not fully play through Breath of the Wild, so I've not moved on to it yet. I do have the game, but I am one of those types of people that I feel like if it's a direct sequel to something, I have to play the previous game first, which is another reason why I haven't played Alan Wake 2 yet either. Which is going to be the third game that I think is going to be nominated. I don't know if it's a lock or not. The only ones that I think are locks are Baldur's Gate and Tears. But Alan Wake 3, I think, is going to be nominated. I also think Spider-Man 2 is going to be nominated for sure. It's a huge, huge improvement over 2018 and Miles, even though those were really fantastic games, but they were, I would say they're more like B rated, you know, or like a B minus, you know, whereas Spider-Man 2 just, it improves upon everything. And it's really, really great game. I'm really liking it a lot. Sea of Stars, I think, is going to be the indie game that's going to, well, I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 is technically an indie too, but, you know, more traditional indie, or, you know, what people think of as an indie. I think Sea of Stars is going to be the one that's going to be nominated. Just because it's an incredible, like, the visuals are just outstanding. The characters, the music is really good. And it's, you know, a traditional RPG, kind of closer to like what, you know, RPGs used to be like back in like Super Nintendo days. And I think Sea of Stars is a great game, and it's just, I think a lot of people just really liked that game a lot. So, and then of course, Super Mario Wonder, because it's Mario, and from what it looks like it's a really, really great game. It's also got a Metacritic over 90, I think. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the 6. If anything, I think if any of them would switch out, I don't know, maybe Sea of Stars or Alan Wake 2, but I doubt they will. And whatever would replace them would probably be Final Fantasy 16, although I don't agree. I love Final Fantasy, don't get me wrong. And Final Fantasy 16 had an amazing cast of characters and story. You know, I love Game of Thrones. But some of it was too close to Game of Thrones. Like, there were characters that I was like, oh, that's, you know, that's Hodor, or that's Cersei, you know, like, it's just like, I don't know. I felt like they were trying to go, like, character for character against the show. And it just, I mean, the story was great, don't get me wrong. The character development was great. There were characters that left a little too early, I felt like. And I'm not going to give spoilers, but the music was fantastic, though. I really did like the music a lot. But there were too many boring moments with 16. The icon fights were incredible. I loved those, but in between those and like the cutscenes with the story and everything, there were these really dull side quests. And while like some of them were very important to the story, like actually a lot of them were, they had no depth to them as far as the gameplay. And I know side quests are typically, you know, just typical, right? Side quest, you know, it's going to be repetitive. It's going to be like, go fetch this and blah, blah, blah. But it was worse than that for me. Like, I was not into them at all. Like, I don't know. The crafting is terrible in 16. The active time lore was amazing. That was great, and I hope they implement that into other games from now on, because it was very helpful. But yeah, I personally don't agree with 16, but it very well could end up in the top 6. I could see it being nominated for musical score for sure, or some of the voice acting was incredible too. But yeah, Starfield could make it in there too. I love Bethesda, but I could not get into Starfield, so I put that one down. But this is just kind of like all around what games I think overall impressed people the most that weren't so divided. And I think these 6 make sense to me. Alan Wake 2, I've hardly heard any bad things about. Same thing with Sea of Stars and everything else on there. So overall, I think this is a good 6. My personal 6 is going to be quite a bit different. I play a lot of indies. To be quite honest, there's a lot of indies that these days I feel have a lot more depth, a lot more heart to them than the AAA games do. You've got smaller teams, you've got less of a budget, but you've got these people that are very passionate about what they're making, and they're not being rushed or forced to do something that they're not enjoying or don't agree with, which I think a lot of the AAAs tend to do these days. And I do have 3 AAAs on here, but you've got Hogwarts Legacy. This was actually their first big major game, but it was published by WB. So I love Harry Potter. I've always loved Harry Potter, and Hogwarts Legacy put in so much detail into the lore of Harry Potter, the world of Harry Potter, and it's just really impressive to me, like how much research they did into this world. And it was actually a really fun game too. It was a great RPG. There were a couple moments that kind of slowed down and it started to get repetitive, but then it picked back up. And I put like 75 hours into that game, and I think it might be a little overlooked for certain reasons, but I think it's really was actually a fantastic game. Typically these games that are like based off of major franchises or anything like that anymore are not as good, except for you got Spider-Man and you've got and then Hogwarts Legacy. But yeah, I think it was a great game, and it sold more than anybody else this year. I think it definitely has the most revenue, I think, but that usually doesn't mean anything. But it's just I really enjoyed it a lot. The flying was really fun too. And then of course Hi-Fi Rush I think is going to get overlooked. I would personally want to put this in the top 6 nominees. But I think Sea of Stars is going to overlook Hi-Fi Rush. If it wasn't Sea of Stars, I'd put Hi-Fi Rush there. This game was just, it was so fun. It was such a breath of fresh air to play. The music was great. The rhythm, the art style was fantastic. Some of it reminded me of Persona in ways, and also like Scott Pilgrim. It was just super, super cool. And these are the games that I think Xbox first-party games have actually done very well. Some of their like AA titles have been incredible. You think about it too, Pentiment and As Dusk Falls from last year were incredible games, and those were Xbox first-party. And they were AAs. They were also overlooked. And I don't know if Pentiment even got to the Game Awards last year because it came out at the end of November. So if that's kind of my questionable game right now, because that could actually be at the Game Awards this year, and I would put that number 1. I thought Pentiment was so unique. It was unlike any other game, the art style was incredible. The way that it like kind of took you back to history, and it was just super interesting. I know a lot of people like probably wouldn't. It's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody, because there's a lot of people that don't really care about like reading about history and stuff. But it's just, I don't know. It was so cool. And I don't know. If Pentiment has a chance to be at the 2023 Game Awards, then it could actually end up in the Game of the Year category. Just because I hear so many critics go back to look at that game, and they always refer back to that game. There's not a lot of consumers necessarily, I think, that played it, but the critics loved it, and I loved it, and I think it was just so good. But anyway, I don't know. Yeah, those are the games that I really like Xbox for, and I hope they do more of those. Spider-Man 2, that was, it's incredible. I really like it. I've not finished it yet, but I'm about like 35% in, so not very much. I still have a lot to go. Cocoon, this was by some of the previous Playdead creators, and I love this game. This is a fantastic puzzle game, and the visuals are it's so nice to look at. I don't know. It's honestly like, if you put this into the category of the Playdead games, which I've played all of them, I think. You've got Inside, you've got Limbo, you've got Somerville, which was also made by previous Playdead employees. You've got Cocoon, and all of those are fantastic games. They're great, but Cocoon, I think, is probably my favorite of all of those. And I actually really liked Somerville a lot. Some people didn't, but it reminded me of what is that one movie? Yeah, War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds, or Signs, actually. But yeah, Cocoon is just, it's a crazy good game. I did do like a little 60-second review on it in one of my shorts, so you can look at that if you want. I also really liked Jusant a lot, which I just played through, but I don't think I would put it as my personal top 6. Sea of Stars, I still have not finished Sea of Stars, but I got through probably about half of it, and it's a great game. Like I said earlier, that would be in my top 6. And then also Pikmin 4. I actually did really like this game a lot. I did finish it. I did not go back because there's missions that pop up after you beat the game. There's an extra story, and I have not gone back to do that yet. But I 100% every area, and I really, really enjoyed my time with Pikmin. I've always been a fan of Pikmin. I think it gets overlooked a lot because it is like an RTS, a real-time strategy game, which a lot of people are not really into. There's a lot of people that don't like strategy and don't like puzzles, but I personally do really like them. So, and it can get difficult at times. This is actually the easier of the Pikmin games, I think. I've not really played through 3 and 2, but I did play a lot of 1 back on GameCube, and yeah, I don't know, but it was really good, and the visuals were really pretty. It was really smooth to play, and I liked it a lot. So yeah, that's my personal 6: Hogwarts Legacy, Hi-Fi Rush, Spider-Man 2, Cocoon, Sea of Stars, and Pikmin 4. So what are your personal picks for this year, and what do you think are going to be nominated? Which, it's probably going to vary. Like I'm just the 6 that I think are going to be nominated is from what I've heard from critics and just kind of like an overall view, I think. I do plan on playing all of those games that I mentioned, even though I have not played most of them. I've only played Sea of Stars and Spider-Man 2. But I do plan on playing Wonder. I do plan on playing Tears once I finish Breath of the Wild. Alan Wake 2 once I play through Alan Wake, and Baldur's Gate 3, which I don't need to play the previous ones, thankfully, so that one will be played after Spider-Man 2. So Game Club. I talk about this like every video, but Game Club is our Game of the Month club on Facebook, and it's like a book club. But right now we have our voting thread up for December's Game of the Month, and that game we will play together as a group. The wheel's going to spin on the 15th, so be sure to get your votes in. You get 2 votes. The game has to be less than 20 hours long, and it has to be under $20 in price. Game Pass counts, PlayStation Plus counts, Switch Online counts, because those are all kind of equal to less than $20 a month for now. I may have to bump that up later, but yeah, if you want to get your votes in, be sure to join that group first, and then put your votes into the thread. Don't comment on my video and do the votes, please, and do it on the group. And make sure that there are games that qualify within the rules, which are all laid out for you there, and make sure that they're not games that we've already played. Which the list is also on that thread. So get your votes in, and then on Wednesday morning at like 8 o'clock, it'll spin, and whatever it lands on, we will play for December. Right now we're playing Assassin's Creed Unity, and we're playing Blue Dragon for our long game, which we do for 3 months. Yeah, so get to voting. What I'm playing right now, I'm playing Spider-Man 2, which I've already kind of talked about quite a bit, and I'm liking it a lot. Last night I kind of went around and started doing a lot of the like the science puzzles and stuff, and I really like those a lot. I don't know. I know a lot of people like to skip those, but I enjoy them. I'm also playing Assassin's Creed Unity, and this is for Game Club, and I like the story a lot. I'm not sure if I'm set on the gameplay because it's quite a bit different, but at least the main character, can't even think of his name right now. I'm only on sequence 2, so I'm almost to 3. So, he runs a lot quicker than Basim did, which I think most of them did. And that was my main gripe with Assassin's Creed Mirage, is that Basim he runs so freaking slow, and like the traversal was not great, but this is a lot smoother for sure. It's just, there's been sneaking around, but it doesn't feel the same, and maybe it's just because I have not gotten that far into it, but I'm not really sure how I feel about the gameplay. But the story is incredible. I really like it. And I like the time period and location it's in too. It's in France. But I don't know. I may put it down for a while, to be honest, because I just finished Mirage, and I'm really trying to focus on getting like these games that are on my backlog out of the way, because I just, there's Spider-Man 2. I really want to play Cyberpunk at some point too, like soon. I've got to play Breath of the Wild. I've got to, there's all these games on my backlog, and if I keep adding to it, I'm never going to get around to them. So I may put it off for a while and then come back to it, because it'll be easy to come back to. I'm not really sure yet. I did also start Oxenfree, finally, and I like it quite a bit. It's different. The only thing I don't like about it is that like sometimes the characters will start talking over each other, because it's, you know, it's on a timed limit, so you have to like respond to these characters. But if you like, when you respond, your character interrupts them, so you don't really get like the full, I don't know, you don't really get all the dialogue from the characters because you're constantly interrupting them, and if you wait too long then it times out and then you can't even respond. So that's the only thing I don't like about it, but it's a very interesting story. It's a little spooky, actually. It kind of gave me weird dreams. But yeah, I like it. I should probably finish that in a couple of days and then focus on Spider-Man 2 so I can play Baldur's Gate. So that's all I've got for this video, and if you like that, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys